Hi there, my name is Camille Tintle, and I want to show you 5 hacks that can double your ROAS rather quickly. So, I have been managing Facebook advertising campaigns for the past 6+ years, and this is what I exclusively do. So, I basically live and breathe Facebook advertising and have worked with many different businesses with Facebook ad account audits or analyses, and also lots of monthly campaign management, basically taking over existing campaigns or building them from scratch. So I know exactly what typically tends to be campaign hangups and what can dramatically improve your results. So these 5 tips and tricks can make a big difference in your campaign. So if it's struggling, I would definitely suggest giving some of these a shot. So the first one has to do with your structure. So basically, the ad campaign structure and strategy sets you up for success from the beginning. It's not going to be the only thing that's going to get you to, say, double digit ROI or ROAS, if that's what you want, or a low cost per purchase, but it's going to get you started off on the right foot. So when we're talking about strategy and structure, it basically has to do with, how are you taking the customer on a journey? How are you bringing them to the site? How are you warming them up? Typically, new customers, which most e-commerce businesses want, they're wanting to get new customers in the door. Not all new customers are going to purchase right away, and new customers are typically the hardest to convert. So they have to have quite an incentive to buy. You have to gain their trust and just generally lower the barrier. So if you think about with the structure of a Facebook advertising campaign, you're going to want to first introduce your target audience, cold audiences who are most likely to buy your product. You want to introduce them to your brand and what you have to offer. And hopefully, you have purchase conversion ad sets set up so that those who do want to purchase right away will, but not everybody will. So you have to have some kind of backup plans in place. And oftentimes for me and for the campaigns that I work on, we will run purchase conversion campaigns or ad sets for cold audiences. We'll also run traffic campaigns and then retarget those folks. But something that tends to work really well is involved with add to cart optimization. So with cold audiences, we will have it set up so that at the ad set level. So let's look in here. Whoops, I need to. Nope. Click that. Okay, at the ad set level, let's look in here. So these are cold audiences. We're getting them to just add to cart first, and then we'll get some purchases, hopefully. So that doesn't happen with every business, but a lot of times it's highly efficient so that we're getting people to take the desired action. And in this case, it's adding to cart. So take one step on the site, and then we will retarget them later. But as you can see, this is pretty phenomenal. It's all under $5 per add to cart. That's basically where we want to see it. And then you'll see we've also gotten purchases too. So 12 purchases. That's excellent. And a lot of people clicking to the site. So we've got 1.39% link click-through rate, which is basically the percentage of people who see your ad and then click onto the site. We want this above 1% whenever possible. We have under $1 per click, so looking great there. Again, so add to cart optimization, that is something in terms of the structure that can really help take these new the cold audiences that are first being introduced to your business. That's really holding their hand through the journey to actually purchasing. So this can make a big difference in terms of your ROAS. You want to get that higher, and your cost per purchase, you want to get that lower, especially when this is efficient in that it's bringing in a lot of traffic, a lot of add to carts at a low cost, and you're also getting purchases. That's excellent. So structure and your strategy, that's going to set you up for success. Now, let's see. I'm going to pause this video for a second because I have to block out the ad account ID. So give me one second. All right, I am back. So the next hack I want to talk to you about has to do with a promotion. So when we're talking about a Facebook advertising campaign, there are so many different aspects that can come into play and can improve your results and get you to the ideal metrics that you're hoping to achieve and hoping to reach. So a good promotion for new customers basically is going to lower the barrier and make it easier to get them to purchase and ideally, just get them in the door, which is actually having them purchase. So a good promotion can be anything from a percentage off, a dollar amount off, a free service, a free um, like a free item with their first order, anything like that. Buy one, get one free. Typically, I like to work with percentage off, but I will test all the other promotions as well. I work with businesses to strategize on what typically the best promotions are going to be. And when we're talking about percentage off, I would recommend nothing less than 15% off. You do 10%. People just aren't as interested. It's kind of like they glaze over it, and I would say sometimes it performs worse than like no promotion whatsoever, which can work really well for some businesses, but that isn't always the case. So this business right here that I pulled up, it's an e-commerce business. They don't run any promotions for their first-time customers, and I've cautioned them on this. They really want to increase their ROAS, and that's great. And they've got a 3 ROAS, so they're doing very, very well. But they could be doing so much better if they offered some kind of bundle, a percentage off, some more incentive to get people in the door, these new customers, because it will make up on the back end. Basically, the if you have a high lifetime value of a customer, which this company definitely does, they could be making so much more money because if they offer that incentive for new customers once they take advantage of this promotion, and they get, say, let's say 15% off the order, which might be like a $50 purchase, and they're getting 15% off. That's great. So it's easier to get them in the door. You have a lower cost per purchase or conversion or acquisition, and then you have a higher ROAS, typically, and that includes like the promotion as well, the discount off. But once you get more people in the door, and if you have a high lifetime value of a customer, then you're making more money down the road. So good promotion goes a long way. But I also want to say that you can run ads without a promotion, but you have to have everything else in place. And this business definitely does. So they have a high enough ROAS to the point where they have been profitable, but they could be doing so much more just by a good promotion. So there is another business that I want to show you in a second. I'll pause the video so I can make sure this is blocked out appropriately. 1 second. Okay, here we are in a different ad account, and I want to show you an insane ROAS. So this is with a 50% off promotion. And I would say like it's probably like 75% of the maybe not 75%. It might be like 60%, includes a 50% off purchase. So promotion, I should say. So 50% off your purchase. So very deep discount. It's amazing. They have great margins to work with, so they can do this. Not every business can do that. So I completely recognize that, but I just want to show you how insane these results are. 1637 ROAS. Yeah, that's can you imagine your business bringing in that type of number? It absolutely can be done. Um, and part of that has to do with the great promotion to get new customers in the door. And they have a great a high average order value, and they also have a high website conversion rate and a what else? A high lifetime value of a customer. So they can spend a lot and offer these deep discounts at the beginning to get people in the door, and then these new customers, these new purchasers are going to try the product, love it, and then basically like a customer for life, and they keep coming back and buying more and more. So um, that's another way to increase your ROAS. And what I just mentioned regarding the website, they have everything else in place. That's the third item that's so important. It has to do with the website conversion rate, the lifetime value of a customer, and your average order value. That all directly comes into play with your Facebook advertising campaign. With a Facebook advertising campaign, gosh, I'm tripping over my words. I'm speaking so quickly, so apologies for that. With a Facebook advertising campaign, our goal is to bring the right qualified, ready to buy traffic to your website. And the website needs to be ready to convert that traffic. So, with a high enough conversion rate, which generally is above 1%, the better off your results will be. If you can get it closer to 2% and 3%, you're golden. The Facebook advertising campaign will benefit tremendously from that. And speaking of which, this ROAS will really be directly impacted by what you have going on the site. So if most people tend to spend $50 or $100 per order, then you're bringing in more money overall. And at the same time, the lifetime value of a customer is so important, because if if a customer ends up spending $5,000 in the entire time that they are a customer of your store, that's a lot of money. So you can spend more to acquire new customers up front. Same thing with when you're dealing with an average order value. So a lot of times when I'm seeing low ROAS, it has to do with what I just described. You could have a low, not exciting promotion or no promotion. The structure of your campaign could be crappy and not really keeping in mind what's going to bring the customer on a journey in the right way. And yeah, and just what's happening on your site just is so important. Don't ignore it. And I encourage you or discourage you to start running a Facebook advertising campaign if you don't have those other things in place, because it won't matter how much qualified, ready to buy traffic we send from Facebook to your site. If you don't have those items in place and those numbers are low, then the campaign's not going to do very well, and your revenue is going to be low, and the ROAS is going to be low, and it's going to be a big frustration. So make sure you emphasize that. Let's see. The fourth item has to do with graphics. So let me actually pause this for a minute. All right, I'm back. And we are talking about graphics. Okay, so graphics are very important. By graphics, I mean your videos and your images that you're using on your ads. So especially if you're dealing with an e-commerce store, you want to make sure that you have really eye-popping pictures of your product with models, whatever it may be. The pictures need to be good. Make sure that you invest in a photographer who can take some quality shots, because and make sure that there are a lot to choose from and to test, because it can basically impact your ad campaign by up to like 70%. I've seen images make or break a campaign. So if your images aren't great and people aren't clicking on them, then you're not going to get many people to the site, and you're not going to have a very high ROAS. So pictures, videos, so important. And you want to make sure you have a variety to choose from, not just like the same type of image, but you can see here in the excuse me, the thumbnail that we have different images. Down here, more here, here, here. We've got text overlay, no text overlay. And when we're talking about video, let's see if I can pull up this one. This is the new one. Our video is like under 15 seconds, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 15 seconds. And it's a really short explainer video highlighting the percentage off, little tidbits about the product, like what the benefits are and the features, and Yeah, short and sweet, and it works very, very well. Okay, and on that note, regarding having different images to test, videos to test, you want to make sure you put an emphasis on A/B testing. Now, this is the most important hack within this list because it will be the difference between having a campaign that doesn't do well and doesn't have really that great of a ROAS or cost per purchase too, which is very important. ROAS isn't the only number that you want to look at, but cost per purchase plays a big role. Um, if you don't A/B test enough, and let's say you don't A/B test at all, then you're not going to get the best results. A/B testing essentially is testing different aspects of the campaign in order to discover what works and what doesn't work. And you cannot find what works without finding what doesn't work. And when you can pause what doesn't work and focus on what does work, then you can, narrow in on those aspects that do work and discover, like, you can get very granular on images, copy, the promotion, the placement, the audiences. There's so much that comes into play with your Facebook advertising campaign. And I'll show you in this ad campaign. So whoops, let's see if I can hide this. Oh, good. It hit on its own. So you can see we've got 785 different ads that we've tested. 448 ad sets that we've tested. So that includes, the placement. It could be auto, it could be mobile, it could be Instagram only, it could be Facebook desktop, whatever it may be. Add to cart optimization, purchase conversion optimization, traffic optimization, link click optimization, all of that. A/B testing, admittedly, is very difficult, and especially for business owners when you have a lot of different things going on, it's hard to dedicate enough time to actually A/B testing effectively. So, that I would say that's the number one thing I've noticed when I've done ad account audits or an analysis for a client. When I'm looking in the ad account to see, like, what they've done to date and how to improve those results, A/B testing, hands down, is something that most businesses just don't do enough of, and that's because they don't have the time. They also don't have the experience analyzing results and numbers to that point where they can spot quickly, like, what needs to be done and how in depth you need to go into your campaign to find these results. It can get really overwhelming and time consuming. So, so I completely understand that. But if you can't dedicate enough time to doing it, then you definitely want to find somebody who can, because that's going to improve your results dramatically. If you want to set up a call to discuss, how you really can effectively A/B test with someone else, a team or an individual, what specific aspects of the campaign you need to, especially when looking at, like, inside your ad account, feel free to reach out and schedule a strategy call so that we can discuss all of that and get you on the right track to finding the best results. So there you have it. Those are the 5 hacks for doubling your ROAS. Again, I'll just summarize it. So we've got the structure, the strategy of your campaign. That's really going to set you up for success. Make sure that you have everything in place before you actually start running the ads. You are going to have to pivot along the way, but it's going to you want to start off with a well thought out plan and how to take your customer on that journey before you actually start the campaign. The next is a good promotion. Remember, no less than 15% if you're going to run a promotion. If you're not going to run a promotion, make sure that you have everything else in place on your site and with your business and your product in order to do that, because otherwise it could be a lot more difficult to do. The next is having what's happening on the site. So you want to have a high conversion rate, high lifetime value of the customer, and a high average order value. Increase those as much as possible, ideally before you run a Facebook advertising campaign or during, but those are important numbers that can make a big impact on your Facebook advertising campaign and your other marketing or advertising efforts. The fourth one has to do with graphics. Visually, eye-popping images and videos with text overlay and without text overlay can impact your ad campaign by up to 70%. So don't skimp on that. Make sure you have a professional photographer taking pictures of your product with or without models. And let's see what else is there. For videos, shorter is better, so usually under 30 seconds, if not 15 seconds. Just needs to be briefly showing what the product is. If there's a promotion, you want to highlight the promotion as well, or you don't have to include text overlay, but usually I test both. So text overlay and no text overlay for videos, and shorter is better. Okay, and then the last item is A/B testing. If you don't do any of those other items I just suggested, do A/B testing. Emphasize A/B testing because that is how you will find the best results with your ad campaign, and that's the easiest way to getting doubling your ROAS, if not double-digit ROAS, which is completely possible. That I showed you, earlier in this video. That I have one client that's 16 ROAS, and when we've run specials during holidays, we've gotten into the 20 plus range for ROAS, which is not unheard of. Not just with this business, but with other businesses as well. So there you have it.